No one expected this bombshell yet. Here we are. Quiet whispers are now echoing through the paddock like thunder. According to sources close to Sky Sports Italia, talks have happened, serious ones, between Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff and Max Verstappen. Not casual phone calls, not friendly chats. Real back and forth to claim. Max is looking for a way out of Red Bull. The timing couldn't be more dramatic. We're not talking about something far off. Some insiders believe the move could happen as soon as next season, but there's a snag. Not everyone inside Mercedes' boardroom is fully on board yet. While some decision makers are pushing for the deal, others are hesitant. That hesitation is the only thing holding this back. Of course, within hours of this breaking, other major outlets came forward. Sky Sports UK and Autoport responded quickly, stating no concrete offer is currently in Verstappen's hands. They argue that nothing official has been presented, no papers signed, no decisions made. So now the big question hangs in the air: what's real, and what's just smoke? Here's what's making everyone pay attention, even the most skeptical. Reports agree on one thing: there are conversations. Nobody is denying that. And that subtle truth might mean a lot more than people realize. In Formula One, silence often says more than any press release. Verstappen has always repeated one line like a mantra: my contract with Red Bull lasts until 2028. But recently, that language has shifted. At the Austrian Grand Prix, he didn't repeat it. Instead, he said something much more powerful: I control my own future. That's not just a sentence, that's a warning shot. That change in wording from Max isn't just a throwaway comment, it's a sign, a shift. The kind that tells you he's no longer fully tied to Red Bull emotionally, even if the paperwork says otherwise. People close to the situation believe Max is using this moment carefully, applying pressure without making a public move. If the Red Bull garage can't provide the internal calm he needs, Zor. If the car begins to fall behind rivals, he's making sure the exit door is slightly open. And then there's the clause. Yes, the one that's been talked about behind closed doors for months. Several respected outlets, including the Race and Automotor Undi Sport, have confirmed its existence. It's a performance clause. If Max finds himself sitting fourth or lower in the championship standings by the summer break, he has the option to leave. It's not automatic. He has to make that decision himself, but the option is there. It's real, and it changes everything. This isn't just about results on track. It's about power, control. Max knows what he brings to any team. He's not just fast, he's a game changer. And right now, he's signaling that if Red Bull slips even slightly, he's ready to listen to other options. That includes Mercedes. And Mercedes. They've got their own reasons to stir the pot. George Russell is hesitating to sign a short-term contract. He wants something more stable, a deal that shows faith in his future, but Mercedes is only offering a short-term extension. 1+1. In that kind of negotiation, even a whisper that Verstappen might be available applies the right kind of pressure. And that pressure is clearly doing its job. Russell was directly asked if he's been warned about the possibility of Max taking his seat. His reply: he mentioned having open and honest conversations with Toto Wolff, but he carefully avoided giving a straight answer. That's not a clear rejection, that's calculated silence. Then there's Lewis Hamilton. His shock move to Ferrari earlier this year sent waves through the entire sport. Without that massive shift, none of these Verstappen to Mercedes rumors would even have legs. Hamilton's decision left a massive hole in Mercedes' future plans. And now the team is looking for a driver who can not only fill that gap, but carry them forward. Frederic Vesti and Andrea Kimi Antonelli are names floating around his future. Stars Antonelli especially is being closely watched. But he's still adjusting, still learning. Mercedes knows that to return to the top, they need a leader, someone proven, not just promising. Verstappen fits that role better than anyone. Of course, going after Max isn't simple. It comes with risk. If Mercedes pushes hard and misses, it could shake up their entire structure. It could damage Russell's trust in the team, and it hands Red Bull a chance to turn the spotlight back on Mercedes, painting them as desperate or divided. Christian Horner has already downplayed the rumors, saying Max is happy where he is. But even he isn't pretending everything's calm behind the scenes. Red Bull is juggling too many problems right now. There's tension between Horner and Helmut Marko. Adrian Newey, the genius behind their car design, is on his way out. Honda's future engine plans are still unclear. That's a lot of noise for a driver like Max to deal with, and it might be just enough to make him consider a change. You can trace the beginning of this unease all the way back to Bahrain. Verstappen dominated the race, crossed the line first, with ease, but his face told a different story. No celebration, no spark, just a blank expression on the podium, as if the win didn't mean much. In Saudi Arabia, it happened again. This time, when asked if he sees himself finishing his career with Red Bull, he sidestepped the question entirely. By the time the paddock arrived at Imola, the whispers had grown louder. Verstappen wasn't acting like a man fully committed to his current team. He was measured, strategic, choosing every word with caution. It's the kind of behavior you see from someone who's keeping all options open. That brings everything back to the rumored clause in his contract. Multiple respected reports confirm it exists. If Max is sitting fourth or lower in the standings come summer break, he has a path out. It's not automatic, he has to trigger it, but just knowing it's there gives him the upper hand in every internal discussion. It's his insurance policy if Red Bull starts to fall behind. And make no mistake, Verstappen isn't the type to stick around for nostalgia or promises. He wants results. If the Red Bull machine begins to show cracks, especially with rising threats like McLaren and Mercedes gaining ground, he'll want a clear way forward. Some believe he's already testing the waters, seeing how far he can push before making a final decision. At the same time, Toto Wolff hasn't forgotten 2014. Back then, he passed on signing Max to Mercedes' junior program. Red Bull didn't. They took the gamble, backed it up, and built a champion. Wolff has said in private circles that missing out on Max once is something he doesn't intend to repeat. Toto Wolff has always admired Verstappen's raw talent, but there's more to it than just speed. He's often said Max isn't just quick on track, but mentally sharp, fiercely competitive, and brutally honest. And behind Max, there's a strong influence. His father, Jos Verstappen. Their bond is firm, but it's also intense. Those close to the paddock know Jos doesn't sugarcoat anything. He gives Max direct, often harsh feedback, and that shaped the kind of driver he's become. Ruthless, focused, unshaken. Back in 2014, Mercedes had the opportunity to sign Max through a junior deal. They didn't pull the trigger. Red Bull did. And now, they're the ones reaping the rewards. But the story might come full circle, because Mercedes, looking ahead to the major 2026 regulation changes, sees a rare window. Their power unit for 2026 is rumored to be highly advanced, the strongest concept on the grid. The simulation data coming out of Brackley is said to be promising. Their budget is solid. Their facilities are proven. What they're missing is a headline name, a title winner who can lead the team into a new era. Pairing Verstappen with Antonelli could be that vision, a blend of a champion and an upcoming talent. Experience meets future potential. On paper, it looks like a dream scenario, but making it real comes with two big hurdles. First, Mercedes board has to approve the cost. Max isn't cheap. His salary and any buyout clause from Red Bull would be massive, possibly the most expensive driver move in F1 history. Second, Max himself needs to believe Mercedes can win. He's not leaving Red Bull just to relive past glories. He wants to stay on top. And that's what makes his recent quotes so important. When asked directly whether he'll stay with Red Bull until 2028, he didn't say yes. He said, "It depends what happens." That's not a vote of confidence, a warning. Meanwhile, back at Red Bull, the pressure is quietly building. Helmut Marko recently gave an interview, saying, "I believe Max will stay, but in this sport, belief isn't enough. Nobody's offering hard guarantees, not even Max himself. In fact, it's the silence that speaks loudest." Every time he's asked a direct question about his future, his responses are calculated. There's always a pause, a condition, a subtle shift in tone. It's not commitment, it's leverage. And here's where timing becomes everything. This entire storm has kicked off just before the British Grand Prix, one of the biggest weekends on the calendar. That's not coincidence. It's strategic. The rumor mill is now louder than ever, and it's having an effect. Red Bull is on edge. George Russell is on notice, and Mercedes, they're holding the cards. Even if they haven't played them yet, even if this move never happens, if Verstappen stays at Red Bull through 2028, the damage is already done. The power dynamics have shifted. The paddock knows there's unrest. The perception now is that Max is no longer untouchable. That alone can create a ripple effect across the entire driver market, because in Formula One, perception is just as powerful as performance. And right now, the feeling is that Verstappen might actually be open to writing a new chapter in his career. Whether that ends in silver or stays red and blue, only time will tell. One thing is clear, this isn't just a silly season rumor. It's a high-stakes chess match between the top names in the sport. And every word, every look, every radio message adds fuel to a fire that refuses to burn out. Whatever happens next, it's going to shape the future of Formula One.